Ladies and gentlemen, it's an era of mobocracy in Bangladesh ever since Sheikh Hasina's government was toppled in a coup planned and executed by the Bangladesh army and external forces. The anarchists are having a field day with never-ending incidents of ransacking, arson and attacks on minorities and their places of worship. But despite standing with the Modi Sarkar on this issue, the I.N.D.I.A are busy indulging in fear-mongering. They predict that Bangladesh model of uprising might soon be witnessed in India. From Gandhi loyalists to PDP chief Mehbooba Mufti, they all advise India to learn from what has happened in the neighboring nation. Congress leader Sajjan Verma has claimed that the day is not far away when protesters will storm into the official residence of the Prime Minister of India. The BJP has said it's nothing but blatant provocation. It's asking why the opposition is putting Rajniti over Rashtaniti. Take a look at the war of words before we jump into the debate.
I go back.
Your own party has distanced itself.
No.
Your own party has distanced itself from your comment. What do you have to say?
Please ask my party.
याद रखना नरेंद्र मोदी जी, एक दिन जनता जितने सड़क पे हिलोरे दे रही है, एक दिन तुम्हारी गलत नीतियों से तुम्हारे प्रधानमंत्री निवास पे घुस जाएगी, कब्जा कर लेगी.
This is the same Congress party which in Modi Virod time and again has descended into Desh Virod, sometimes asking for foreign intervention into India, sometimes betraying and berating the Indian institutions of democracy on foreign soil. Today Rahul Gandhi must tell us that does he accept the stand of Salman Khurshid?
मुझे लगता है कि बांग्लादेश से हमें ये सबक सीखना चाहिए कि तानाशाही का ज्यादा वक्त नहीं होता है.
जब विदेश यात्रा में राहुल गांधी जाते थे और कई लोगों से चोरी चुपके विदेश में जाकर मिलते थे और भारत के खिलाफ वहां कह के आते थे, तो आज मालूम पड़ रहा है आखिरकार मनसा क्या है.
You're watching the News Hour at 9, debate number 2 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
I want to ask you, Dr. Sanjay Jha, when Hamas was under attack, there were tweets that came in from Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, from the opposition netas. Everyone had their hearts going out to the Hamas. I want to ask you, not one tweet on the Hindus, the minorities that have been targeted in Bangladesh. And what does Salman Khurshid mean by the statement that he made at a book release where he said the fact remains that beneath the surface there is something. What's happening in Bangladesh could happen here. The spread in our country prevents things from blowing up in the manner they have in Bangladesh. Are we fear-mongering and trying to create a civil war in India? Is that what the opposition is wanting to do?
Navika, I think that's a blatantly unfair allegation to make against Mr. Khurshid. I think Mr. Khurshid, I know him personally. He's one of the finest intellectuals in politics. And what has he said, really? He's just said what I think I have been reading across newspapers and magazines ever since the horrific events in Bangladesh. And by the way, if anybody in this country needs to make a statement on what is happening to the Hindus in Bangladesh and their safety and the protection of our temples, it must come from Mr. Modi's government, which remains remarkably quiet, which completely disappears when they are challenged because they are a foreign policy disaster. Let me answer to you on what Mr. Salman Khurshid mentioned. There are disturbing commonalities. It does not mean that what has happened in Bangladesh will allow it to happen in India, because hopefully we are going to be a strong, democratically founded society. But there are worries that people have. We are authoritarian.
Oh yes, there are worries, and you expressed them very openly during elections, and you were answered by the people of India. But Nalin Kohli, Dr. Sanjay Jha knows Salman Khurshid personally, so do I, but he is taking guarantee that what he meant was only intellectual and definitely not provocative. Please respond.
Absolutely.
Well, first of all, coming from Mr. Salman Khurshid, who's such a senior leader, a senior advocate, his choice of words have to be deliberate. They have to be clearly what he intended to speak. There can't be any ifs and buts to that. Number two, what is the meaning of this entire comparison? Why do we always want the worst to be compared with India? I just don't understand. And what do they mean that something like this can come here? That you're going to see a religious crowd marching up to Rashtrapati Bhavan, putting it on fire, God forbid. Honestly, what is this competition happening for somewhere or the other to draw even a foreign issue in which, as you correctly said, Hindu temples have been ransacked, burned. I'm sure the Buddhists are facing problems too. And not a word or a whisper from Mr. Rahul Gandhi or even, say, Mr. Sanjay Jha on the program. That, we are very concerned about it and we are sorry that we are doing politics about it because women are getting raped at the moment, temples are being burned down, human beings are being killed, a whole thing has been ransacked. And, that we may have a security situation on the border. Indian citizens may now have to worry. We have to worry even more because of the external aggression that took place through.
But here they are trying to provoke Indians themselves. Ke chale jao, ghus jao Pradhan Mantri ke ghar mein. Somebody is looking for swimming pools in the Pradhan Mantri's house, Mehbooba Mufti's daughter. Well, Anand Ranganathan, is this once again, freelance politics where national interest is on the back burner and just making political capital out of anything possible is what is happening in India?
No, absolutely, Navika. I think, as I said, hatred for Modi has now transmogrified into hatred for India. And, when Jinnah said, I'll either have a divided India or a destroyed India, he managed the former. It is beyond doubt that the Congress is intent upon managing the latter. You look at every statement, when they are... So what has happened in Bangladesh, first of all? A democratically elected government, you might be against the person who was democratically elected. There has been a coup. That's the honest truth. It's not that a few students or the jihadis or Islamists have marched on and have dethroned the Democrat. No, it has happened with the backing of the army. I'm not even talking about the foreign hand out here. It would not have been possible without the backing of the army. Is the Congress and other people, are they suggesting that the army is going to orchestrate a coup in India? If they are
you suggesting that, Vivek Srivastava, that there is going to be a coup in India and that the army in this country will take over?
First of all, Dr. Ranganathan, she was not a so-called duly elected leader of Bangladesh. It was boycotted by the opposition. 10 years Khalida Zia has been put into the jail. Okay? And worst atrocities were being committed. Students, there were no jobs. The Supreme Court had to step in, and that was as late as July 21st. So if you destroy the entire opposition of a nation and autocratically and dictatorially start ruling there, you cannot be called a duly elected representative of a nation. That's the first part.
How are you comparing it with India? Because there are increased number of opposition leaders in parliament today, and that in itself belies the factual targeting on this issue of the Indian situation. The fact is the opposition has got more numbers in India than before. The fact that the ruling party's numbers have decreased shows that democracy is alive and kicking in India. And therefore, on that intellectual note, Sanjay Jha, Salman Khurshid's proposition is completely negated by the facts of the case, and therefore, if you liken India to a similar situation as Bangladesh, then clearly you need to revisit your propositions, intellectual as they may be. We leave it at that. Completely out of time. Thank you very much to all my panelists, and thank you viewers for joining me on the Newshour tonight. Good night, be safe, and I'll be back tomorrow on the same show, the Newshour at 9.